Alright, my name is Cooper Marsh, and I'm a student at the University of Pittsburgh. I've kind of struggled to find an actual direction with what to do. I mean, I've taken a battery of courses, all manner. I've found that there's not really a clear answer. You're never really going to find it, that one go-to, unless you're one of those like severely dedicated people who had an idea since they were like third grade or something. Right now, I'm in Intro to Emergency Medicine. You find the people that really need your help right away, and you do what you can, and then you get them to other people who can finish the job. And you're the first person on the scene. You're the person that is the difference between them being alive and dead most of the time. That really struck me. I've always had a vague interest in medicine as well. So I figured, well, I'd try Intro to EMT. I have a good amount of hobbies. I like to draw, do magic occasionally, hang out with friends. I hang out with friends a lot. Above most else, I really like games of all types, whether it be a word game, a board game, a video game, or a card game. I love games. My interest in magic, it actually started when I was visiting Pittsburgh, actually. Back when I was probably around 16. I was visiting with my dad, my brother, and an uncle of mine. He was a really cool guy, super nice. Like, I'd probably met him before, but this is pretty much the first time. And at one point we were on this plane ride, and it was like 45 minutes. It was like Philly to Pittsburgh. While we were on the plane, he has a deck of cards. He actually shows me magic tricks. He's like, hey, do you want to learn some? Of course, I was like, yes. He actually taught me how to do, one or two basic moves and then like two tricks. I have a deck of cards actually, but it's in my jacket. First, I'm going to take but here, you can go ahead and take it. Got a deck of cards here. I can actually use you for this, but you don't have to come out here or anything. See, I wrote down the address and your name and everything, email address for the interview, and when I wrote that down, I actually wrote down a prediction that I had just in case something like this came up. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and tell me when to stop. Alright, not many cards left, but this will be your card. Alright. Now I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to mix it up. And I'm actually going to get rid of the deck. And I'm just not obviously going to throw up. I'm going to get rid of it here. I'm pretty sure I already know what your card is because you seem like a very down-to-earth kind of guy. And I thought of that when I put that here. And down-to-earth people, they're always a black card. For you, your truck is what really made me think about it, because when I listened to you, I was like, this probably isn't the kind of guy with a truck, but I just thought about it. And I got the idea that it was a spades. So tell me, was your card a spade? Alright. Now, from that, I'm the seventh person being interviewed, correct? Now, I didn't think that it would be the seven. I didn't think so. And I watched one before that, and I only wanted to watch one. And I watched Corlin, I believe. Nice guy. He was a great guy. So I thought, well, I'm going to be the seventh, so there's 5 unknowns left. So I'm going to think it's the 5. And so tell me, was it the 5 of spades? Alright, and I'm going to open this up here. And actually, you might be able to see it right there. And underneath, Marty, you know that 5 of spades. Yeah, pretty much after I heard your voice, I was like, you know what? Magic is a part of me. He's probably going to want something, and he's a 5 of spades. So, yeah. That's part of why I like to do magic. Because, while I may or may not be able to get the same enjoyment out of the same trick, I can get the same enjoyment out of someone else's enjoyment. It's one of my favorite things about humanity, in a way. There's different social cultures and all that, have different hierarchies, or, different people who are in charge, different types of jobs. But there's always going to be musicians, and certainly the different types of music will exist. In a way, that's like a very connecting thing. The real reason I like music is I just find it very entertaining to listen to. I mean, that's a crappy answer, but just about any type of music, I can at least find 1 or 2 songs where I really enjoy it. Favorites. I like Keen, British band. This Will Destroy You. They do a lot of instrumental stuff. Pretty Lights. He's very good. I really like a lot of oldies. It's almost weird to call it oldies in a way, because in the grand scheme of things, now they're old. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, like lounge singers, really. Ella Fitzgerald blows me away most of the time. I really like jazz, like John Coltrane is one of my favorites. Dizzy Gillespie was very good. I enjoyed him. I have a deep respect for musicians, you know, because that takes a lot of time to learn how to play, you know, bass or guitar or drums or all that. My mom would often sing. She was a singer at the church that I went to. I think she released a CD at some point. It was, you know, small time. That's probably like the main reason why I fell in love with music. I had an interesting track record with playing instruments. When I was really young, my parents, they let me play, they tried to get me to play piano. And don't get me wrong, if I could choose any instrument to know how to play, it would probably be piano because it's used in so many different genres of music and it's so adaptable. I got about, I think it was around 2 years into it. This has been like a kind of constant theme of my life. I'll get pumped about something and then I get bored and just kind of abandon it. But the reason I stopped with piano is I got bored with what the piano teacher was teaching me. I didn't want to do like Santa Goes to Town anymore. I was really annoyed with that. Don't get me wrong, like I didn't practice all that much on my own. I was like a fourth grader, you know. I probably didn't deserve to go into the better stuff, but that didn't mean I didn't want to. You know, after 2 years of doing like basic nursery rhyme tunes, you get a little bit frustrated and you want to hear like the beautiful sweeping works of Beethoven and all of that. Even if you can't fully play it, you still want to try. After that, it just went downhill. I tried trumpet in fourth grade for, I think, a semester, and it was spitty and gross and sounded weird. So I stopped. And then my parents let me try violin because I expressed interest in that. And that lasted a week. I played hot cross buns and it hurt my ears. So I was done with that. I had all the patience that you would expect out of an elementary school kid. It was just a matter of money at that point, not even stifling my creativity. You know, he wasn't being a bad dad. He was just like, I'm not shelling out more money for instruments you're not going to do. We ended up having a guitar around the house, as well as a piano. But he said, for a while I wanted to try drums. And he said, Cooper, if you learn guitar, if you practice and like show me that you're dedicated, then I'll think about buying you a drum set and then you can learn that. Which I didn't say directly to him, but I was like, Dad, that's stupid as hell. I'm not going to learn guitar so I can learn drums. I mean, I understood where he was coming from. I still do not know drums, to say the least. I've always thought I was at least pretty good at singing. You know, besides like musicals that I did up until like 8th grade. You know, I can't really test that nowadays except for in the shower. I'm an avid shower singer, much to my college dorm floor's chagrin at occasion. I love movies. Just because, like, I've always loved books, and movies are just like an extension of that. I'm not going to get into a discussion whether books are better than movies, or vice versa. But yes, suffice to say, I love movies. Because of my interest in magic, partially, and also just because it's a really good movie. I love the movie The Prestige. I just thought it was a really entertaining movie, and it had, like, twists and turns, and it was dynamic, and magicians, and all this cool junk. I recently saw a movie, Bernie, which is very interesting, with Jack Black. The best way to describe it is not a Jack Black movie, because it's not what you would immediately think of when you think Jack Black. It's not like School of Rock or something, you know, as being a goofy dude. It's just a very straightforward portrayal of a real interesting case that happened this year, and it's like in a partial documentary type of format, and it was just very entertaining. I currently have my hands on a DVD that I got from a friend that I cannot wait to watch. I like really bad movies sometimes, and this one promises to be good. It's Surf Nazis Must Die. And I'm not quite sure what to expect from it. I suppose going in the safe direction, I shouldn't expect a single thing from it, because it's called Surf Nazis Must Die. So, we'll see how that goes. I'd probably go with Tom Hanks. Well, I mean, besides, you know, he's gotten addressed with multiple accolades and awards and all that junk. He's just been in a lot of really good movies, and a lot of them span very different, you know, characters or like timelines or all of that. He's pretty much like for me, he's like the quintessential actor. You know, you're able to give him a role that, you know, as long as it fits like being a dude in his 40s, you know, he's going to get. Oh, hell, I mean, one time he did one that wasn't a dude in his 40s. He played in Big, you know, where he's supposed to be like a kid, you know, who just got an adult body. I love to read. I've been doing it ever since I was a kid. The first book I remember actually reading myself, although my parents read it to me too, just kind of like got it to me in a novelty way. It was just a counting book, and it was called Counting with the Cooper, which, in case you don't know, a Cooper is a barrel maker. It was just some like weird looking dude, and you counted barrels. Ever since then, you know, I've just been constantly reading books to the point where throughout most of high school, I did get detention multiple times for reading during class and not paying attention. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to take a fiction book. Just because I love stories in general and the creativeness, like the full potential, just like movies, to represent just about anything. But even more so, because books can go places where movies can. You know, because you're with a book, all you need to create that story is an idea, like in a pen and paper or like a computer or something. Whereas, you know, you obviously need a whole production for a movie. I just finished reading Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card for probably the third time in my life, maybe the second. I really love that book. That it's just very imaginative, and it's like an interesting perspective of, like, you know, thinking of the future and also like what to do in like a worst scenario, but also just because of its portrayal of very young kids in a very adult situation in a way. One that definitely has to get mentioned in there was last night, actually. I was just walking back from a friend's house, and it was like 2 in the morning. There was like no one around. There was lampposts, but it was like very dark besides that, and it was snowing. It was just so serene in a way, because it wasn't like one of those heavy snows with a bunch of wind. It was just the snow lightly coming down. It was a really beautiful sight in a way, especially seeing it on, like, falling on different objects. Any work of art that you can really tell they like put that the artist like put everything they had into it. Like, I mean, obviously some are going to be better quality, you know, in general than others. Like, if you take like a Da Vinci versus a 2-year-old's work, it's just not going to match up. I mean, Da Vinci's not going to be nearly as good, of course. Seeing a genuine smile, because a genuine smile, you know, it's almost cynical to think of, but like very few people genuinely smile, nearly as much as I would like to think they used to. I mean, who knows? Maybe people have been faking it since the dawn of time. During the summer, during the daytime, like say the afternoon, when, you know, maybe you're a little bit tired from lunch or something, and the sun's kind of beating down, so you like find shade underneath a tree. When you're like in a more rural area or like maybe a suburb area, and there's not much activity going on, and you can hear like a bunch of cicadas or crickets or something like that. They all make this like really, like it's almost deafening when you finally notice it. It's like a really good background noise. It really encapsulates the feeling of summer for me. I'd say music, and I can't even put it down to a specific music because it differs every day. Just people in general. It's kind of interesting to hear because it reminds you everyone has their own thing going on. You're not alone, you know? You're just another person who's there. It's like a nice connection to the rest of humanity, you know? I love the smell of spicy food. Like, not so spicy that, you know, it's going to be unpleasant to eat, but if you can just smell it and you know, like it brings almost like a little bit of a tear to your eye or something. Besides that, it also looks amazing, but just the smell can really get you, you know, like, oh, this is going to be good. Smell of fresh bread, which I really like in that I can pretty much go into a Subway and I can get that smell. It's pretty cool. A very nice perfume or cologne. Just like just about anything, you can definitely go overboard with perfumes and colognes, but the nice perfumes and colognes that are in appropriate amounts. I love spicy chicken, like wings or like buffalo style chicken. That's always been a favorite of mine. I love spicy food. I love to put hot sauce on things. So if you get some really good hot wings or something, oh, that's amazing. Then beyond that, I got 2 other things that I really like to specifically do. One of them is kind of like almost like a memory favorite taste. During the whole year, my dad would often go back and forth between London. During the summers, he would try to bring like the rest of the family so that, you know, he wasn't like switching around all the time. And also so we got like kind of a picture of the life of London. So that was cool. But when I went there's this cafe called the Cat and Cucumber Cafe. And it was in the Tower Bridge or London Bridge area on a corner. It was open from like 6 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, like kind of weird hours. I would always go there and I would always get the same exact thing. I would get a bacon, egg, and sausage sandwich, just like on regular white bread, and I would get a Coke with it. It was my favorite breakfast sandwich, and I would go there as much as possible. You could just feel your heart dying a little bit each time you ate it, but it was so good. It was my absolute favorite thing in the world. I really hope that someday I'll be able to go back and it'll still be there and I can still get it, just to flood my mouth with deliciousness and grease and nostalgia, and it'll be amazing.